Ain't shady, baby, I'm hot, like the prodigal son.
Man, it'd be 10 years ago now. All three of us got together to film a TV series called Back to Basics.
Over the next 3 days, the goal really is to soak up all the environments that make up the Great Barrier Reef and what makes it so special.
First being the outer edge. This is where the water is crystal clear and the fish are really big. The second is the Great Barrier Reef Islands, where the rainforest comes down onto white sandy beaches and then onto fringing reefs. Lastly, the mangroves, the most crucial part of it all. This is where the life cycle of a lot of our favourite fish species begins. All three of these environments come together, depend on each other and make up the Great Barrier Reef that we love.
If I could have 10 lifetimes over, I'd spend each of those lifetimes exploring the Great Barrier Reef.
It's just my favourite place in the entire world. It's the place that I care the most about. It's the place that I love the most. It's the place that I feel at home. I'm fascinated by it. There's scattered sand cays the whole length of the outer reef, and this is what we're going to be checking out to start with.
Big tiger shark, about 20 metres in front of me. 2.5 metre tiger shark. Strick's going to jump in, try to get a closer look. Tiger sharks are pretty curious.
Amazing seeing such a big animal in such shallow water, and that's why we love the outer Great Barrier Reef. These kind of things happen. Big animals live here, big tiger sharks. Really, really cool.
Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. But I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame.
They were following but didn't want to commit. Yeah, I think they were queenfish. This lure's a bit big for the old queenie. Mate, topwater fishing particularly is so exciting. You can see the hunt. You're in the hunt. I've thrown that lure. It's exactly where I want it to go. The bait's just exploded on the surface. When you see big fish coming in to attack your lure, mate, it is just heart pumping, out of control, adrenaline plus.
Some people got the real problem. Some people like
Mate, I thought it was a big school of GTs, but it was in fact one of the most beautiful, elusive reefies, the long-nosed emperor. Look at that. Oh my god.
Tom, look at this school of queenies here, mate.
Surely there's going to be an explosion.
Come on, come on.
don't put the blame on me.
I love all types of fishing, but topwater fishing is without a doubt number one, my favourite type. The moment you hook up, nothing else matters. Everything that was once an issue fades away. It's just you and that fish.
Oh, just like blink like that and you grab me off on the reef. Let's re-rig. The fish are biting.
There's nothing that can prepare how you act in that moment. It's truly one of those split seconds where your body just takes over. And then what follows is generally mayhem and chaos combined with a circus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, oh no!
Look at that GT under the front of the boat.
Oh, I'm shaking, man. That was crazy.
You fell.
I thought it was going to pull me in.
Wait back, wait back.
It's just pure euphoria and you lose control in that moment.
Oh, yeah. Hit. Yes, that's a trout. That's a trout. That's a big coral trout. Come on. Oh, how good was that strike, mate? Oh, no, it's a red bass. You beauty. Hey, that's a big red bass. Guys, look at that.
That's a beauty. I love when a plan comes together. So we've done hundreds of casts, I reckon, this morning to land 2 fish. It's arguably the longer you leave it, the more you try to get that fish, to land that fish, the better it feels.
Of course, the top of what we're really after is the giant trevally, but they're so sought after because they're not easy to get. So we're going to keep trying for them.
One of the great things about out of the reef, it starts to heat up, then jump in the water to cool off. I've had a couple of very unique experiences in my life that have shaped how I view the world and how I live my life, and that's having a couple of really close shaves with death.
Everybody's gotta live.
Eyes, breathe.
I think you know the
Eyes,
reason
breathe.
why.
Breathe, eyes. Eyes, breathe. Eyes, breathe. Eyes, breathe. Breathe, eyes. Breathe, eyes. Eyes, breathe.
It's very hard to watch. Yeah, it's hard to hear someone yelling out your own name to come back to life. Took me a good 6 months psychologically. Over and over again, I'd have these same dreams where I was gasping for breath. And the negativity creeps in. Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you shouldn't do this again. But I knew my love and affiliation with the underwater world, and I wasn't ready to give that up. I was going to do anything it took mentally and physically to get back underwater at any cost.
You know I just can't get enough. Oh yeah, everybody's gotta live. Yes they do, and everybody's gonna die.
The underwater world is forever giving and fascinating and mysterious and just spectacular.
You know the reason why.
It's magic, man. It really is.
I saw a blind man standing on a corner yesterday,
Be
babe.
grateful for every breath that you got, because your next one's not promised. You need to make the most of the time that you got. And you don't know how much time there is, so do what you love. Enjoy what you do every day.
Oh yeah, everybody's gotta live, and everybody's gonna die.
I've just seen a couple of whiskers pop out of the water that look like a crayfish. Az might have scored us some dinner.
Cracker, eh?
Yeah, that's perfect, man.
Well, that takes the pressure off for a feed anyway. Mission success. We've got a bit of a wind against tide situation, which leads to the ocean being like a bit of a washing machine at the moment. Mate, I should probably go find somewhere to set up a bit of a camp. Oh, something behind it. Yep, yeah! Oh, good fish, good fish. Yes! Strick's on up the front. Strick's on the bow, double hooker.
Yes, mate.
Dude, last trip of the day. Oh, mate, you couldn't have written it any better. Oh, yep. Yeah. Well done, bro. Dude, put the time in for a couple of cheats today. Small GT, but a lot of fun, mate.
Let's get these hooks out. Get them back in there, eh?
See you, buddy. Off he goes.
There's a bitch now, baby. No, you can't turn me round. If a house gets in my way, baby, you know I'll burn it down. You ran the night that you left me, put me in my place.
Well, after a pretty special day out there in the deep blue, the outer edge of the Great Barrier Reef, we've come back into one of the coastal islands for the night. We'll just roll a couple of swags out and should be a great camp here.
Feels so good to be in nature, because just on this very human, very primal level, it's just deeply ingrained in us. You're able to breathe a bit deeper, reconnect with yourself and your friends. The three OG B2B crew back together again. Strickland brothers and myself.
Which seems bizarre, having like come up with the back to basics idea, all three of us, and then, you know, life takes different turns, and then it's been probably 8 years since we've all been out doing it, man. It's gone like that, eh? That's scary to think.
Yeah.
It was good to be back, good to see how much we've all changed over the years, but also it's still eerily similar. almost like nothing's changed.
Almost like we didn't grow up at all in the last 8 years. Hopefully we're a little bit less cringe-worthy than when we first started, man.
Man, how did time just slip by like that? I just assumed these kind of trips and this carefree nature of life was going to be forever. The reality of it is that these moments become fewer and further between the older we get.
We stepped out in the morning, rolled the light beneath.
We're off on another adventure.
Day 2, mate.
Day 2.
Today we're getting a big GT, mate. No two ways about it. A big one.
Yeah, if we get a really good GT, that'd be awesome. Highly optimistic.
Fishing's one of those things that you can't conquer, you can't win. That results in like this insatiable desire for more of it. Every time you go out, you seem to learn something more, but I think it's the sessions I don't catch anything that leaves me awake at night time thinking like, why weren't they biting? What should I do differently? What was the tide doing? What was the current? And my mind just runs wild trying to crack this code of nature. All these things, there's no other way to describe that than an obsession.
That's a huge trout! Well, we gotta land this one. Bar cheat coral trout, I was not expecting that. He's come flying off the bottom in about 10 meters of water and nailed that popper. I think this looks very likely, mate. Up there is gonna be our best shot. Go and get bigger, mate. We're gonna head on down to another spot. We still want that big GT in the boat, so that's the goal. Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. Oh, it's a good fish, eh?
What I'm predicting is a pretty solid GT. Yeah. I've got this drag proper cranked up on this reel, eh? The issue here is that there's this huge rock that comes out at 20 meters. We're hoping it doesn't drag us around it.
Really good fish, eh? Oh. Only 6 meters, man. Don't let him down in the reef.
Oh man, I can't max the drag out much more than it already is. Should we try and drive out of it a bit? Like reverse out that way? It's gone. That was the fish. That was the fish, yeah.
But when that fish rubbed on the reef and the line broke, I just lost it, man. I boiled over. Oh, we just needed that fish, man.
Oh, this needs to be fucking tight, man. Like, this needs to be like as tight
I was so bloody frustrated, and I don't think I've ever been like that with Az, and I kind of had to apologise afterwards, but man, I felt like we lost the fish that would have really made this all worthwhile and made this film what we wanted it to be.
Could I have put on bigger leader? Could I have tightened the drag up more? Should I have been using a heavier rod and reel and line? And like all those questions start running through your head. Everyone had come from so far to catch a big giant trevally on top water, and then you have a big giant trevally take your lure, and then you lose it halfway through the fight. Yeah, man, it's a hard pill to swallow.
This is just one of the most beautiful beaches in the whole country, let alone North Queensland. The one downside of such a big, vast, open beach, we're about to see it here, all the plastic and rubbish that washes in on the high tide line. We'll pick up as much as we can and then keep going.
I just really hope that our kids can enjoy seeing the Great Barrier Reef the way I've seen it and the way my dad taught me about the Great Barrier Reef and all the amazing stories that he told me. You know, I wanted to have my kids to see that.
Have a go at this, Az. I had a tinny exactly like this that went missing in a cyclone in 2010, Yamaha 15 as well. This might be it.
It's almost salvageable.
With a WD-40, mate.
Grabbed a couple of handles. You'll see what these are for in a second.
So this assortment of rocks behind me here is actually an Aboriginal fish trap put in by the Banjin and Girramai people potentially thousands of years ago when they lived in this area. And when the tide drops, it all drains out here. So any of the fish get caught in this fish trap here. And this is a way that the Aboriginal people would have hunted and gathered and really relied on this trap every day. It's a bit of a taste into how life was back then.
Standing in the middle of this indigenous fish trap that has been largely unchanged for thousands of years, I couldn't help but think how many thousands of meals had been gathered there and then taken back to sit around the fire like we would at night and shared, and the stories that would have been told. It really made me feel we were in a sacred spot. That there is a mangrove seed. So this mangrove tree is going to drop these, and then the tide and current moves them all around wherever they go. And then this here ends up like that, and that's the next generation of mangroves.
So this here's where the whole cycle for the Great Barrier Reef starts for a lot of fish. Your GTs, when they're first starting out, where they practice hunting in around these mangroves, where the mangrove jack first are born, and then as they get bigger, they eventually move to the islands, and then when they get really big, right out to the outer Great Barrier Reefs. It's one of the habitats that we really need to prioritize protecting.
As the sun was setting and just sat there on the beach with my brother and my best mate, and I'd realised that I just put so much pressure on landing the big fish. The best moments and the best memories that come from these type of trips, I can rarely remember who caught what fish at all. Now knowing how few and far and how long between these kind of trips it can be, man, look where we are, look what we're doing. I'm really going to cherish this trip for the rest of my life.
I think when you're faced with the reality that tomorrow's never promised, you really learn to try and embrace today.
It's been 10 years since we last caught up here. It does really make you realise how short and fleeting life can be.
If you really value something and you know that it brings you a lot of joy, you really should prioritise it. Make the effort. Don't just put it into the too hard basket. They're the moments that you look back on fondly and really shape the experience that is life.
All right, mate. All comes down to the final morning. Last shot of getting a big GT. We'll see how we go. Oh yeah, there's something on it! There's something on it! Oh, that's a good fish! Oh, mate! Where's the rock? Right under it? Oh, bugger.
Not again, Az, not again.
Oh, I know, man. Gotta get it away from this rock. Oh.
Oh yes, mate, he's a nice one.
Good fish, eh?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, wow. Oh, look at this.
That's the fish you're after, mate. Sure.
Yeah!
Oh, man!
Yeah, bro! When you lose an awesome fish, when something doesn't go to plan, it makes when things do go to plan, when you do get the big fish, so much sweeter.
Yeah, boys! Yes! Never down, boys! Oh, man, I can't believe that, eh?
Gonna get this beauty back in the water. Oh, bit of redemption, gorgeous fish, back in the water to fight another day.
It's amazing just how wonderful it is. The things we like to do.
Oh, yes, yes! Yes, 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 yes!
Everyone's a winner, baby, that's true.
Oh, too good. That wraps up a really incredible couple of days out here. Thanks for the good times, mate. You reckon you're ready to go back, or?
What do you mean, man? I never want to go back.
We really had a chat beforehand and we're like, man, like these couple of days, let's just go out and really do this for the reasons we started Back to Basics. And let's make the 20-year-old Strick and Az proud of what they were doing and they're doing it for the right reason. Boys, we've got to warm back the clock a bit. We're in for a bit of a treat.
Oh no!
Cringeworthy. Let's just never show that to anyone, ever.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can see that.